Mr. Speaker,
I call on Jamie Harper.
I rise today as the representative of the beautiful electorate of Otaki to give my support to the Sustainable Energy Bill in its final reading. A bill that at its core seeks to provide a framework that encourages the use of renewable energy sources in Aotearoa, New Zealand. A bill that aims to reduce New Zealand's reliance on non-renewable energy resources, thereby minimising and reducing energy-related greenhouse gas emissions. The question I posed to members of this House is how could we not support a bill that seeks to aid in the fight against one of the greatest pressures facing our society? No longer as a nation can we rely on the energy created by the burning of fossil fuels, increasing our emissions, degrading our environment, harming our society. Set out within the bill is a number of targets, both interim and long-term. These targets' purpose is to ultimately facilitate accountability for reducing greenhouse gas emissions from the energy sector and to encourage both the public and private sectors to realign a focus on the sustainable use of energy. By 2025, it is targeted that 90% of New Zealand's electricity will be sourced from renewable reserves, a target that on current tracking is entirely possible. As of 2018, 83.9% of our electricity came from renewable sources. I believe this target could have been much more ambitious in its intent. If this legislation was to be passed, we could easily meet our current international obligations, including both the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. This bill would align our international obligations that governments have previously signed up to. There are innumerable economic, social and environmental benefits that, if this piece of legislation was to be enacted, would be created as positive consequences. Employment and increased market growth, increased productivity and competitiveness. To conclude, the question I pose to members is, do we continue along the path of ignorance and inaction? Do we perpetuate the continuation of decades of minimal action? No longer can we be reactive, we must be proactive and take substantive action before it's too late. I urge members to take action. Support this piece of legislation. This bill is a step in the right direction and I commend it to the House.
Madam Speaker.
I call Dan Harper-Jones.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I strongly